For now, it's to start joining. We're gonna wait for a couple of minutes. Hello, everybody. We're going to wait for a couple of minutes and we're going to start very soon. One more minute and we will start, okay? You're starting to join. A few more seconds. Awesome. Let's start right now. Welcome, everybody. This is Lupita from the marketing team at Calculus Networks, based out in Mexico. Please welcome to our webinar series of SD-WAN. We're very, very pleased to have you over here joining us. And well, this is the beginning of some very, very interesting content that we have prepared just for you. We're going to be talking about some trends, very important topics that Vignesh and Safa will share for you. And please, Vignesh, I share my micro to you. Welcome, everyone. Hello.
Thank you, Lupita. Hello, all. Welcome to today's webinar, SD-WAN, Revolutionizing the Networks. With me today, I have Mr. Safa, who's a pre-sales engineer working with Versa.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Safa, and nice to meet you here.
And this is me, Vignesh, and I'm a network solutions architect with Calculus. For today's agenda, we'll start off with a quick introduction about Calculus and digital transformation. And followed by that, we'll talk about traditional and software-defined WAN differences, benefits of SD-WAN, why companies are adapting to SD-WAN today. And to continue, we'll also provide a brief introduction to Versa Secure SD-WAN. Finally, we'll also wrap up things with a Q&A session. About Calculus. Calculus is founded in the year 2016, and we do have 7+ years of experience, successful experience in the market with global presence, USA being our headquarters. We also have branches in India, Dubai, Saudi, and Mexico. Mexico is where we have our biggest market so far, right? We are kind of growing in this part of the world, but Mexico is our base, right? We provide global solutions for most of telcos, ISPs, enterprise customers globally, right? And also we are certified partners with more than 12 technology leading OEMs. In this case, right, for the SD-WAN, it is Versa. And we adapt to a CS 360 service model. We start with consultation services, say like we do assessment of the business requirement of a customer and selecting the best fit solution for him, right? And then followed by that designing services such as proof of concepts, followed by designing the solution itself for him based on the requirements. Right. And in specific to this discussion, it will be SD-WAN services, right? It's not that only we do SD-WAN services, we do optical networks as well, right? For example, we'll follow this up with implementation services, obviously, where we implement the design which we have derived out of the requirements in the best way possible to the customers. starting from, in terms of SD-WAN, starting from head and build, DCDR build or branch build, right? We'll deploy anything and everything in SD-WAN. And also we can take over the complete operations of a network infrastructure of a customer, right? And finally, we do TAC and resident engineer services as well, right? That's a high level about Calculus. We do more actually, and about digital transformation. On a high level, digital transformation is not only about SD-WAN, right? It's in general integration of latest technologies in all the business area of an organization. Say, for example, an organization may launch ERP tool, right? Salesforce tool for their sales team to improve the efficiency, right? And even new processes which they introduce into the system to keep up with the latest trends, right? And digital transformation is also about changing the way in which we operate, by which we increase the productivity, efficiency, and also becoming more effective, right? And obviously, in turn, this should reflect in our delivery values, increase in our delivery values to our customer, right? That's the reason. That's the main thing about digital transformation itself, right? And why digital transformation? There are several reasons why an organization can adapt to digital transformation. The main reason, right, is increasing the organization's ability to quickly adapt to the supply chain requirements, and also mainly meeting the customers' expectations, right? To meet the customers' expectations, you should be in top with the trend, right? So that you can you can meet the expectations of the customer. And in layman term, it's mostly survival thing, right? So you should be updated and you should be in line with the technology. And what drives digital transformation? The main reasons for organizations to adapt to latest, main reason is to be in trend so that they adapt to the latest technologies. But more than adapting to the latest technologies, it's more about getting the older things away, right? Outdated technologies and the processes away and adapting to the new things. That's one of the main things, right? Driving factors of adapting to digital technology. And traditional versus latest WAN architectures, which is SD-WAN, right? Here in this slide, I have highlighted very few challenges which we face in our current WAN architecture. To start, right, obviously, the deployment and management is definitely better with SD-WAN, right? Say, starting from onboarding a branch, right, becomes very easy. It's more template driven in SD-WAN, right? Whereas in this legacy WAN architecture, you need more time, effort to bring up a branch, right? It's complete manual effort. And the next thing is we cannot predict application performance with legacy WAN networks, right? There is no built-in cloud access mechanism. Say if you want to connect to a SaaS application like O365 or AWS, Azure, GCP, any IaaS providers like them, right? There is no inbuilt mechanism which you have with which you can intelligently connect to them, right? So you measure their performance and connect via the optimal way. That's not possible with WAN networks, legacy WAN networks today, right? And the most important thing, right, you will always hear when you hear SD-WAN is, SD-WAN always comes up with the term secure SD-WAN, right? Meaning the main thing of SD-WAN is security, right? It builds end-to-end security, but whereas when you compare with legacy term, it cannot do that. So when you want to build a complete secure environment, right, secured network with the legacy WAN, it's not that easy. It's going to be a huge manual effort to create, deploy, and manage that as well, right? It's a pain. Now, branch networks are made better, right? Meaning when we compare to SD-WAN with a legacy WAN network, a branch bring up, as I told you, is very fast and cost effective. We don't need big heavy boxes, right? Costly hardwares which need to have all functionalities, or we don't need to stack up hardwares like firewall, routers, things, right? A normal x86 platform, right? Can do these things. Right now with the SD-WAN, the functionalities are inbuilt, right? And modernization.
Vignesh, can I just break you for a while? Maybe previous slide. I believe that may be the reason, because this technology, it is not the hardware-based technology, it's a kind of software. So that's the reason, we can focus more on the software and the capabilities maybe. And the hardware, it's like a side dish, and we can find how we can onboard, on the cost-effective solution. That is also what we are targeting here, I believe, right?
Yeah, correct. Okay, so with SD-WAN, we can have combinations of underlying transport networks, right? MPLS, Internet, LTE, right? We can have combinations of network connecting to the branches. Then on top of these, we can create a virtual overlay tunnel, right? Which is obviously secured. And we can also utilize SD-WAN functionalities such as application steering, right? To choose a specific application path based on various factors, various types of SLAs, loss, latency, jitter, right? So that we can optimally use these underlying paths, right? Also, in terms of delivery, right, you would have noticed some branch bring up or delayed a lot of times because of link delivery issues. The service provider is not able to deliver a MPLS on time. They are taking more time to deliver this private network, right? A lot of stories around, right? I have heard from a lot of customers. Now with this SD-WAN modernization, right? You can have an internet link or an LTE to bring up a branch. You don't need to wait for that, right? You can, maybe even if you need an MPLS on that branch, you can park that for some time, and then we can immediately bring up the site, keep the services running. Whenever the MPLS comes, it just comes up and gets added to the network, right? So that is made easy. The wait period is negated here. And application performance guarantee. So when we say, right, people migrate, move away from MPLS to internet when you introduce SD-WAN, the first question comes to people's mind is, are you guaranteeing me the application performance when you're saying that you are moving to internet? Yes, absolutely. With SD-WAN, we should be able to do traffic steering, right? Say, for example, you can have a premium internet link and then a normal broadband or LTE link, and then send all your critical applications via this link, right? Now, to add on to that, right, you can do, you can use technologies such as forward error correction, packet duplication, so that even in a lossy link, right, you guarantee the best performance for your application, right, with SD-WAN. And then cloud optimization. So as I touched a bit earlier, right, with legacy WAN, this is not that easy, but with SD-WAN, right, we can really monitor a SaaS and an IaaS application performance. Say, for example, O365, you will see O365 everywhere, right? Most of the enterprises are already adapted to O365. That's not the only SaaS application. There are many, but this is one predominant application you will see everywhere being used, right? So if we take this as an example, and we have a branch, we can monitor. If we have multiple paths to reach this O365, we can monitor and then take a decision based on the best path, right? Optimal path in terms of latency or loss to reach this O365 application specifically. And in terms of IaaS providers like AWS, Azure, or GCP for the example, right? We can simply build our own SD-WAN router, virtual router there. What do you achieve by building a SD-WAN router is it becomes a part of your network. So you can achieve all your SD-WAN functionalities, whatever you are achieving in your SD-WAN network. Also to the IaaS services, right? Say, for example, AWS, you can monitor, okay, via this path, I do have this latency loss to reach them. Okay, let me switch to the other path, right? So you can do that to your IaaS providers as well now, right? With SD-WAN, that is the big advantages, right? You can do this. You don't need big effort to do this, right? Things are automated, right? If you go to AWS platform, you can find SD-WAN appliances available. You can just spin them up, and then it just joins the overlay. If you have internet, you have zero touch provisioning with SD-WAN. It just comes up and gets added, right?
Yeah, I think it should be more than the IP routing, right? In that case, not only the lookup for the destination prefix. There should be some another intelligence. The system should be aware. Okay, what is the URL? What is the URL on this particular region? Or what is the DNS resolution? So, and many decisions, it needs to be harmonized, and it needs to take an proper action, and that should be also the smart one.
Okay, thank you. And as I told you, SD-WAN security is the heart of SD-WAN, right? We get by default end-to-end security, meaning starting from when you onboard a new router, it doesn't just get onboarded. It's not allowed to get onboarded, right? It goes through series of validation steps, right? Say starting from serial number, certificates, right? You can do multi-factor authentication to onboard a router, right? So that's secured in that area. Even when the box comes up, even after the box comes up, it's not going to send the traffic directly over the MPLS or any other transport you have. It's going to create an overlay tunnel. Overlay tunnel by meaning it's by default secured. It's going to be encrypted based on the encryption mechanism, whatever you need. Any SD-WAN technology have any latest encryption mechanisms available as well. So it builds the overlay tunnel and securely shares the traffic via the available transport, whatever the transport may be again, right? It can be MPLS, internet on or LTE. This function is done by default by any SD-WAN, right? And SD-WAN adoption today. So how companies adapt to SD-WAN? Why more companies adapt to SD-WAN more, right? That's the question, right? Obviously, cost, right? So they can move away from costly internet MPLS circuits to cost-effective internet circuits. Plus, they don't lose any performance by adopting to internet, right? So as I touch based earlier, we can utilize the functionalities with application traffic steering based on SLA functionalities, right, within SD-WAN to achieve better performance for the critical applications as well. And then resilience. By default, SD-WAN uses active technology, meaning whatever links you have, you can utilize them all together at the same time, which itself is a big driving factor, right? For organizations to do that today with regular WAN network is not an easy task to achieve that, right? But by default, SD-WAN can do that, right? And speed of delivery, as we already discussed, this is one of the reasons for companies to adapt, right? You can bring up branches quickly, right? So don't need to depend on the private circuit providers. And control meaning in every way, right? After you have a SD-WAN network going in your infrastructure, right? Managing the network is easy. Plus, when you say from a management perspective, if you want to do configuration changes, or say, for example, you want to apply a new policy to your complete network, right? You have 1,000 sites, it doesn't matter. It's just a single policy from your centralized head, and you can control the whole network. And the biggest advantage, which I can highlight in this point, topic, is about the design of your network, right? Say in today's network, the MPLS service provider decides your design, whether it's full mesh or it's going to be a hub and spoke partial mesh. You get in an agreement with them, you build the design, and then followed by that, when you need a change, you have to again fall back to them, right, to do that change, right? But now with SD-WAN, you can control that even within your fingertips, right? You just create a policy. Say your network is currently acting as a full mesh, you just create a new, update the policy, push it to via the controllers, right, SDN orchestrators, right, and you will be having a hub and spoke network, right? So that easy it is now, right? You have the complete control. Flexibility and agility. Flexibility, say, as I told already, it's this is one of the main reasons customers don't need to stack different devices. Say in a branch, they don't need to have a router, firewall, an optimizer, right? WAN optimizer, all the functionalities of stacked with the same single operating system with a cost-effective hardware in SD-WAN, right? In form of SD-WAN. And agility is management of your WAN network as well, as I told you, right? Changes, even if you want to upgrade a device, those things, everything can be managed from a centralized dashboard, with thus providing you agility to do that. So these are some of the main reasons why organizations adapt to SD-WAN today. And now, let's start a quick introduction about, a brief introduction to Versa Secure SD-WAN. For this, I'll hand over the session to Mr. Safa, so he will walk us through this.
Thank you, Vignesh, for the great introduction and all the reason actually why we are talking about it is secure SD-WAN and why we are developing this technology as a Versa. I think now, take the control back. Okay, so first of all, actually, I'd like to just a quick introduction about our company, who is Versa Networks, and also what is our strategy and our architecture. So Versa is a software company actually who provide the technology for the service provider and the enterprise, or let's say for the users or the customer, to securely connect the user and the application wherever they are, in any time, in anywhere. So this is our vision and this is our philosophy. And as my colleague Vignesh rightly described all the reason in the previous slides and previous the section, there are some reason actually, and we need to adapt our enterprise and our organization to the next generation application and our users location. So that's the reason, networking some limit, networks has some limit, and we need to find some virtual overlay networking, and that needs to also give us a chance to make them intelligent, not only the IP prefix base or layer 2, layer 3, the frame base. We need also that intelligence networking based on our applications. But this is not enough for sure, because we are targeting end-to-end networking for multi-cloud reason, or for distributed workforce, or maybe branch office. And that means for any reason, our applications, maybe it is running on the cloud. So that means we need to find the best path for this application. And also we need also apply some set of security policies wherever the users are located. So that's the reason security is always important pillar of the solution, purely like a network and the security to different angle. And this is the convert the solution that proposing the Versa Secure SD-WAN. And another important piece of our product, on how the customers they can deploy, how they can reach the solution. Because of the flexibility that is provided, it can be fully on-premise on the customer side. It can be deployed fully on-premise from top to end, or it can be take through from Versa Cloud gateways, Versa Cloud add-ins as a service manner, or we have already partners in the region and globally. There may be our service provider partner or managed service provider or MSSP partners, and they also provide this service as a managed service manner. Okay, so what are the components and what are the services actually that we are targeting to simplify as a Versa? So, as its own name, wide array technology is the main, or the masterpiece of the technology is a wide array network. But as we discussed, wide array network, it is not only the networking, because within the networking, there are multiple other factors now we need to discuss. we need to know what are the SaaS URL, the public cloud details, or what is the applications, the signature, and so on and so forth. So that's the reason that networking is the main piece, but it is not the whole piece of the solution. And on top of that, we also virtualize and simplify the solution. It starts with the networking and adding to some value-added service like an traffic engineering SD-WAN, the path optimization, application experience policies, and G-firewall and the UTM stack, and also secure access server, which is for the remote users access. And so all these kind of components as a service manner, they are all unified and simplified within the single software stack, which we call Versa Operation System WOS, and it will be part of that software. So the idea actually, this is like an analogy. In the past, earlier there was many people that were using multiple equipment. One is for the MON, and the other is for the calculator, and this is also another thermometers. Too many physical appliances they need to carry it because of the different purpose. And then many of the function, it is all virtualized, and it will be only included within the one packet mobile device, maybe as a software manner. So this is something similar analogy here. So within the branch network physical topology, if you look at in the traditional branch, definitely there is a one router appliance, because this is our exit point, this is our gateway to reach out to our the other remote sites through the internet or MPLS or LTE or broadband connection. And maybe for some reason there is some one optimization appliance in the middle, and there is some security appliance, there are some switches, and there are some LTE appliance, which is for the backup connection. So this is how the solution today looks like, and probably they are all coming from different vendors, and it requires some tight integration and with different skills engineer and different operation, different portals, and that means different cost, and which will be increase the bill at the end of the day. So what we can offer here, there is one unified box, and within this box there is one unified software engine, which we call Versa Operation System. And all the function, it is all integrated like a software-based service chaining internally, and to offer this service and more than that for sure. Because we are not targeting to all the legacy approach, we are targeting what the real user, the customer use case. So, and this is not only the legacy application for sure, and we are providing the solution with the zero touch provisioning. So you just need to click one click, and then you can deploy your branch wherever they are located, and you are not dependent with the ISP, you are not dependent on the underlay. You can easily turn up to your branch or branches, whatever your connection available at that time. And one of the other important piece, all these components, what you need to manage in the past with the multiple portals, now this will be only through the Versa Director, which is our single pane of glass. And definitely that is also the reason you will see the cost benefit, and because that will dramatically reduce the cost that you need to pay for the branch. Okay, so actually what we discussed, this is the software, what we discussed, and there are multiple functions on it. And if we categorize this periodic table, there's a periodic table, there are multiple pillars within this side. And the one is baseline, we call routing and forwarding capability. For sure, this is the main masterpiece of the solution, because as equal as the security piece, and because we need such flexible topologies and some capabilities, even some of the features, it may not be possible to build within the traditional network, like an VXLAN or EVPN or multicast VPN, NG multicast VPN, and so on and so forth. So our solution is fully open standard. And there is no proprietary protocol inside that. So that also gives us a chance to integrate with the other technologies in a good way. And this is also the list of the features that we can activate on the routing and the forwarding level. But for sure, it is not enough. On top of that, now we need to bring more intelligence on top of the routing scale and the forwarding scale, which we call value-added service, like an SD-WAN or SLA monitoring or dynamic service chaining and dynamic IPsec overlay tunnel to build the IPsec tunnel from everywhere, anywhere to everywhere within the SD-WAN fabric, and application QoS, application traffic engineering. And there are some features actually there that you can see. For sure, we cannot call everything because this is just the brief, the page, and you can just go to the corresponding menu and you apply your policy, and it will be part of your configuration. And it is dynamically monitored within the fabric, within the network fabric. And this is just a matter which application you need to set your policy and based on which condition. And then system will trigger each and every time when the SLA hit on this particular threshold, and then he will take an action dynamically. And the last but not least, the part of the solution, which we call security. Because as my colleague Vignesh rightly mentioned, especially for the SaaS application, or for some reason, maybe the system needs to decide to break out some traffic locally on the branch level. So typically enterprise, they invest the security solution on the hub or the HQ level. So that's the reason there is no internet on the branch. So they utilize the link on the MPLS and they push the traffic to the headquarters or the hub location, and then they apply some security policies there. But we know the application is running on the cloud, and we know we have an internet on the site. So why we need to use such, the highly expensive link to just go to the hub location to get protected? So that was the philosophy for Versa, because this is what we feel from the customer requirement. So that's the reason even from day one, security was the included within the solution, and it was developed by Versa engineering team. So for that reason, if the system dynamically decides, okay, this is the best bet on that particular time, and I need to break out for such application on the local branch, and then what is your security policy? And you can apply NG firewall policy, NG IPS, file filtering, anti-malware, DLP, sandboxing, or URL IP filtering, or what else. So this is how the system is running. And for sure, there are some additional components we will touch in the next presentation to give the full picture of the solution. So this is just coming from the software part for the branch level. So in this section, it's described the Versa Secure SD-WAN solution components. And as we rightly described in the previous page, that was for the Versa operation system, which is responsible for the data plane communication. And it includes routing, switching, SD-WAN, and security function. And the next three components actually we call as part of the headend, Versa headend, which is the controller, which is the orchestrator of the solution. And three different components, there are three different roles. So the last two, the component which we call Versa Director and the Analytics, so they are part of the management plane. So Director is the responsible for the single pane of glass of the solution, and it is responsible for the configuration and the management portal of the whole solution. And Analytics is also part of the management plane, but it is for the big data engine platform. So you can see all your logs and the statistics and the graphs, and within the analytics page, analytics screen, and you can analyze it, and even you can also generate your custom report to send it to this destination as attachment or as a file or as an email, or you can integrate with the third parties. And the third component of the headend, which we call Versa Controller, and he is responsible for the control plane purposes, because all the logic which is coming from the SDN technology, SDN architecture. So actually, this is how the solutions looks like. So to be that on the up level, there is a management plane we call, and there are multiple components there: Director, Analytics, and the controller. and the controller, it's run the control plane action, and they need to connect it. You need to connect it each and every branch, and the data plane, and it is only between the branch and the remove side. So there is no data communication, user communication, or application communication passing through the head end. All the data communication between sites, between branch and the hub locations through the multiple underlay link. So what is more important actually when we talk about the data plane communication, this is important, the topology, the capabilities. So the one topology example, this is important because now, as we mentioned, we are not only limited like in traditional hub and spoke topology. Maybe we have some application which may require some full mesh or some partial mesh or some variation mesh topology because of its dependencies. Or maybe there are some another business application which we still need some hub and spoke topology. And as my colleague Vignesh rightly mentioned, even we can change such topology on the fly. If there is anything changed on the application dependency for some business decision, maybe we need to adapt our solution to fulfill all the needs, and even the network topology we can click on fly with just one click. And another important, because of our technology, which is open standard MPBGP and VXLAN based IPsec, so it is very flexible. It is very stable to provide such kind of various topology, like an hub converge, inter-AS connectivity for the brownfield integration, and like an spoke hub spoke topology with some geographical interconnection between different SD-WAN silos and such controller behind hub and so on and so forth. So because of the technology and because of the capability that we built the solution, this is just one click away. And another important piece of the solution is the multi-tenancy. Actually, this is the point, I believe, why the service providers and especially the large enterprise love Versa that much, because they just need to invest one time the full solution, and they can share with the multiple organization and each and every level. So multi-tenancy, in our case, it is not the feature that you can enable and disable. This is coming from by nature, by default, within the solution architect. So that means each and every component, what we described here, it includes the operation system on the branch and also all the head-end component. They are fully multi-tenant. So that means you can share with the multiple organization with the same head-end on the management plane level, data plane level, and even control plane level, and with some different hierarchy, by the way. So that means, especially control plane level, this is the most tricky and most important part, and this is one of the key differentiators. So each and every organization, they will have own dedicated backbone ISP core. So even typically traditional service provider, they only manage single ISP core and they distribute with the multiple organization. But in that case, control plane, that may be the multiple, and that will be the isolated, and that will be the dedicated for each and every organization. So this is a big chance. And another reason for the SD-WAN, which is the multi-cloud transform, because for many reasons, application is moving from the cloud, and the cloud architecture, it didn't born acutely, for many reasons. So there are different set of skill which is coming from AWS, networking skill, or some infrastructure skill, and there are some different capabilities coming from Azure or GCP with different set of capability. But we have some instance there, or we have some location, maybe virtual branch there, and that needs to be also the part of our fabric. And we need to apply our business policy. It may be the application policy, security policy, or QoS policy, or networking policy. No matter our branch are located. So that's the reason our solution, Versa solution, it covers all the variation of the public cloud instance. And then you can extend your fabric, and you can extend your topology wherever your application is located. Okay, and that may be sometimes, confusing because, we speak too much about the technology and the capability, and, and for sure it may be confusing, maybe, how I can manage it, how I can, the monitor and how I can the maintenance the solution. Because that is also important. That should be easy and that should be possible to do it in a proper way. So this is actually where the configuration templates come into place. So we have different type of the templates, which we call service template. It is part of the, and there are some sections that the common template, firewall, QoS template, and you can create your custom template like a service template, and you can unify your template, your custom template with the different the categories. Like one type of the branch template, and the other type is the store template, and the last one maybe the DC template. So that means there is no matter how many devices that you are managing, that you are registered under this template, you just need to change your updates within the template level, and then you just need to push it. And I'm just explaining just some simple words, but if you go into the detail, you will see there are some advanced options, which is the most important actually for the daily operation. Sometimes you need to take some piece of the configuration and you just need to update the remaining part. And sometimes you need to start from the refresh. You need to start from the scratch to update some configuration and then push to all the full updates to the branch. So there are some advanced control that you can see even for to apply the configuration into the device level. And this is the SD-WAN traffic engineering and the SLA measurement part. This is also, the one of the masterpiece of the solution, because now we are not targeting what's our solution, what's our forwarding topology or networking topology is running. We are targeting how our user experience and how our application experience. So that's the reason we have a chance now by playing with some SD-WAN traffic forwarding and the SLA measurement policy to decide our application dependency upfront, like in proactive policies, and then whenever the metrics or SLA, they hit that threshold that we already set, and then they will take an action for the correction and for the optimization. So we don't need to get failed for the user and the application experience. We have a chance to control all upfront, and we just need to go there and to apply. So what are these options? So for this traffic forwarding path, we can make it the predefined application or custom application or SaaS application level. And we can apply some URL category, all this rule or time of day, and user group base, or IP and source and the destination. And on the SLA part, the policy SLA measurement path, there are multiple options. So based on the latency, jitter, packet loss, and even application score, application quality, like in voice and the voice and the video, there is a special term we call the MOS score, and he can detect the voice and the video application experience, and then it can take the automatic action for the corrective action or traffic steering action or what else that we decide within the policy. So, and these are some the parameters actually that we can play with. And for sure, which is more than that, and we can apply some corrective action, like in further correction, packet replication, striping, TCP optimization, and SAS optimization, SAS acceleration, and so on and so forth. So these are all available within the single policy. We just need to decide which application, which users, and then that's it. And the last but not least, this is I believe, another important piece of the solution, because as we mentioned before, Versa is a software company, and all the intelligence and all the capability, it is coming from the software. But for sure, we need the hardware, or we need some the appliance. It may be the virtual appliance, or it may be the physical appliance to host the solution. And even that time, actually, Versa provides much more bigger flexibility within the market. That means we have some partnership with the white box vendor, And that means you can go to the Dell and they can you can buy the VP hardware from the Dell, and it will become pre-installed software versus operation system with the Dell VP packs. So you just need to go to site and you can just activate it with the ZTP. Or if you need to instantiate the instance, the software for some reason on the public or the private cloud, so there are multiple options within the marketplace. You can just go there and click and you can start to use it. Or you can go to the virtual hypervisor like in KVM, VMware, and you can deploy the software image and you can start to work with that. And lastly, and there is also another appliance which is Versa branded, which we call Versa CSG. So for some reason, if you need some capacity or some different type of the connection or different type of the model based on the customer custom requirement, so that may be the good fit for it. So there are multiple alternatives. So we just need to know what is the capacity, what are the physical stuff that you are targeting, and what is the right fit for you. Okay, I think now we are all down here, and maybe we can move to the Q&A section.
Great. Thank you, Safa. I see some questions here in the Q&A panel. So
let me check.
Yeah. So the first one is like, what are the security features covered in SD-CPE when compared to the traditional CPE? To answer this, I hope Safa already presented a slide where he showed all the capabilities of the VOS operating system. If you compare to traditional CPE in general, traditional CPE more often can do regular routing functionalities, maybe some IPsec and regular access-based controls, right? Whereas compared to when you compare this to SD-WAN CPEs, they can do routing functionalities, SD-WAN functionalities like application-based traffic steering things, right? And then full stack security, right? Meaning normal starting from L4, L3, L4 firewall rules, L7 based firewall rules, application based firewall rules, UTM functionalities such as anti-malware, antivirus, IPS, IDS. So it can do a lot, right? Compared to this.
Exactly.
You want to add anything to that, Safa?
No, I think you have pretty much covered everything. I think exactly this is the thing. But roughly, we can call it NG firewall and the UTM features. It will be like the headline there. But in detail, we need to go there. There are multiple features that we can talk about, like an IPS, NG IPS, URL filter, IP filter, antivirus, anti-malware. So these are some features that we can mention.
Okay. There is another question.
I'm just checking.
Which is like, okay, what are the predefined applications, right? Which box can identify? Versa OS can identify.
Okay, I think you mean the predefined application, which is
what are the applications when we say application based firewall rule, right? What are the predefined applications or how many it may match?
Yeah, actually, this is a good question. And the predefined application, there is some proxex actually. It is maintaining by Versa team because it is coming from the software package. And today it is more than 4,000 predefined application. It is already part of the solution, and it is all predefined, recognized based on the application signature. But this is a long process. If there is a new application raised, our engineering team, they check and they test it and they apply within the software package, and it will be distributed to all the branches within the new software, the patch. But today, the short answer, we have more than 4,000 applications, and this is all recognized by the Versa solution. Then you can play with the policy, SD-WAN policy, security policy, or QoS policy that you can play with such applications.
Okay, and one more question I see here, which I think you will be the best fit to answer this. So when we, do we have any rough figure on how much cost optimization can happen through SD-WAN, 1x, 2x, 3x?
Yeah, actually it is, I don't know, actually for that kind of question, I always take serious, because we need to know what is the existing solution and how we can transform it. And we know what will be the final situation, and we know how we simplify it, and that will also bring the benefit and the technology level and also the cost level. But in order to give such accurate answer to give such question, so we need to know how big component and how big architecture or how complex architecture that the customer is using today. And we have the cost calculator within our Versa portal page. So definitely the customers can go there and they can put their current environment, how many users, how many branch, and what is the MPLS cost on this particular region, and what is the internet cost if they are using also internet today, and what is the additional cost for the some security vendor or something what they are using today, and then they can see much more accurate result from this tool. So I think that will be the best way.
Okay, there is another question here. Is Versa providing 100% ZTP configuration? To answer that, yes, it's 100% ZTP out of the box, right? Any Versa routers, as Safa said earlier, when you purchase, say, for example, a Dell hardware with Versa OS on top of this, it comes with predefined ZTP configuration in the global ZTP, which we call specifically. So you just connect, say, for example, internet link with the DHCP enabled. There is a online portal where we have to actually define the hardware, right? Global portal, Versa global portal. We actually allow the serial number, so, and map it to the tenant, right? So the mapping, when the mapping is ready in the headend, when the box comes up, gets an internet link with DHCP and the DNS, it should be able to resolve and reach to the headend, and then from there it gets redirected to the actual controller.
That's right.
So
by the way, this is just a one way, right, Vignesh, that you described?
The question is specific. Can it do 100% ZTP? So I think, so we do have other onboarding options as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So this is what we call global ZTP, and I'm not sure if it is, the user is referring as a 100% for the global, but if this is the case, yes, you are right.
Correct. And there is one specific question that they are looking out for kind of roadmaps for some specific features. So do you think we should take the questions now?
Okay.
So we have a peculiar problem in Versa, doesn't support unnumbered GRE tunnels. So it seems it's impacting them in some way. So do you have any roadmap to support unnumbered GRE tunnel? That's the question. Yeah, okay. I think we can connect maybe if you share with the details for this participant, then we can connect and understand better actually why it needs unnumbered GRE tunnel. Maybe there is some another alternative solution that we can build, or maybe they're already Versa the customer, and we can check internally with the product team or engineering team where we are with this decision. It is maybe the part of the roadmap. Actually, this is not a usual ask, so that's the reason I don't have any short answer now. But we can check and we can come back. But please share with me the contact detail, and we will reach out to him. Yep, sure. I think that's all we have for now. I think we can move forward. And this is not the end of our series of sessions. We do have a few more sessions coming ahead, right? Immediately after this, we are planning to do one session where we get more deep into Versa SD-WAN, how it fits into design and enterprise design or a service provider design. Talk more about Versa SD-WAN, right? That's the next one immediately following this. And then followed by that, we do have plans for SD-WAN SASE. Once we have dates ready for this, you will, if you are already following us on LinkedIn, keep following us on LinkedIn. So you will get the dates announced there so that we can join again together to understand the new things going ahead in the market. Right. That's it, right? Yep, that's all. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. As Vignesh mentioned, we're going to have a few more coming up very soon. So please join us. Follow us in LinkedIn, and also please watch our content through YouTube. Just press Calculus, and you will be disclosed a whole bunch of content that you might also find interesting regarding SD-WAN and other solutions that Calculus Networks has, and Calculus Business Solutions and Calculus Cloud. So please join us, and see you next time, hopefully very soon. Stay tuned, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vignesh. Thank you, Safa, for your time.
Thank you, guys.